Estás Bim.
Yo.
This is episode 16. Been there, rock that. Conversation with style. We have Prance over at the Flatbush Corner
Yes,
looking
sir.
rather lonely today.
Yes, okay.
We have a special guest, special host guest. Miss Gabriella Riley is here.
Hi.
Hi,
Thanks for
Gabrielle.
having me.
We have Stilo.
You ready?
We have Jason. And we have another guest, but I'm not going to say his name yet. El Presidente himself. Colombia's winning, by the way, 2-0.
Yeah.
All you World Cup fans. So, Prance,
Yo.
how's your week?
Oh, it was blessed. It was blessed. I mean, working the 9 to 5 as always, but other than that, the little 5-year-old, my son, graduated from kindergarten in the first grade.
Congrats, man.
So it's definitely an honor to see him, elevate in growth at 5 years old. So definitely, little Mac, I love you. Thank you for making me proud as always. All right, that's about it for me.
Oh, look at the Flatbush Corner getting emotional. Gabriella,
Yeah.
how was your week?
Fantastic. I'm planning a show and my record's coming out and my birthday's coming up.
Look
My
at
record's
that.
coming out on my birthday. So the lead up to this week's been beautiful.
Oh,
When's your birthday?
June 30th.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's July 17th. So it's not the Flatbush Corner this week. It's the Cancer Corner.
That's right.
We're repping.
Oh,
Salute,
shit.
salute.
We're deeply sensitive and intuitive. Too.
Definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
here we go. Stilo,
Yo.
I see you doing your little social media thing. How was your week?
Oh, you know my week. Vacation. Just came back from Grenada.
Right, looking
and,
dark, boy. Looking dark.
Extra Gipsy.
Extra
Extra
crispy,
Gipsy.
extra
Had a great time. The island's beautiful. Plenty of drinks.
Mhm.
Waterfalls. Monkeys.
Monkeys?
Fishes.
What you
Yeah,
mean?
that's a whole nother
Monkeys?
story. We're not there. Have a small community of monkeys over there that's
Okay.
quite
did-
friendly.
You did something over there too, charity wise, right?
Yeah, we had a birthday party as well as a fundraiser down there,
Nice.
and for the kids' school, and promoting promoting and supporting the school system as well as the kids down there. And what else did we do? The island is just beautiful.
Mhm.
Great time. Like I said, me and the wife. Hello, wifey. Hey, G, what's up? Love you. You ready?
Aw.
And
Oh,
Shout out to Stilo's wife.
That's it.
She's awesome.
yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
great. And yeah, that's it. If you need an itinerary for Grenada, holla at me. I'll give it to you.
the Spice Island
You done know.
represents.
Mr. Green, what's up with you, brother?
I didn't do nothing really. I was just living the whole week, living. I will say one thing: when people show you who they are, believe them,
Listen.
and that's all I'm gonna say.
About Ralph McDaniel thing.
Yeah, but you went
Yeah.
there, but you spoke about that, didn't you?
Nah, I didn't even get
Nah,
to
build on
That's
that.
what I was
Okay,
trying.
I went to the Ralph McDaniel's thing.
Thank you.
I met Prince there. Shout out to Ralph McDaniel's. He has his 35th anniversary
Yes.
for Video Music Box. Yeah, I was there. Shout out to Lord Nez. Kate was there. There's a lot of people.
Shout out, Kate.
Yeah, if I
Classic
forget about
mat-
you, I'm
Classic
sorry.
Material
Yeah.
New York
Yeah, in my old age, I forget a lot of shit.
represented
so-
it. Shout out to Los.
Missed
Yeah,
all the
it was
action.
dope. And then we went to a family function of Prance's, which was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was cool too, for real. Christened my great nephew, which is King David. That's his name. So salute to him. And salute to Terry Ann and my family or whatever. Had a great christening party for us. So a lot of food, a lot of drinks and stuff like that. So we blessed to have another, foundation of a man that's gonna represent for the founder. For the family,
You
basically.
already.
And another thing, all you World Cup fans, Brazil is still in the World Cup.
Yes,
We
we
did
are.
win 2-0. Vamos Brazil. Our next game is against Serbia on Wednesday.
That
So you
should be
motherfuckers
easy.
better watch.
That should be easy.
Nothing's easy now,
It's true.
But anyway, we have a special guest.
Yes, sir.
El Presidente himself of Tammy Rivera, her whole little conglomerate of, merchandise, media. We have Mr. Nilson Martinez.
You.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
good,
sir.
brother.
Yeah, and first of all, tell them how you stole my shirt for 10 years.
Oh, that's Nelson.
Yes.
All right, so
Gotta speak in the mic.
it's a happy ending though.
Yeah.
So we had a polo party,
Mhm.
which we have quite often.
You gotta get close to
And
him.
and at the end of the day, there was somebody was gonna win. So I had everything laid out.
This
I knew what I wanted, and then I said, "Yo, you know what? Let me hit John up." So I say, "Yo, John, look, I need this. Send him my outfit." He hooked me up, and then I just every time I see him, I just don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
that-
what you call it, right?
That's the one that stayed in the bottom of the drawer.
But I brought it back today.
Yes, it's over. Yes,
Okay.
it's finally over.
Oh, the rugby.
Yeah, it's finally over.
Oh, look at that. Look at
I
that.
wonder, but how long really was it? It was like,
like a
what?
year.
It was like a year. He stole my shirt for a year.
Listen.
It was in good hands, though.
Yeah, it was in good hands. It was always a running joke because he would be someplace. He'd be like, "Yo, I got it in my car," and then
No, what's funny is when Willie was here, he texted me and he says, "Yo, John said he wants a shirt."
yeah, shout out to Willie Esco. I did tell him that though.
Definitely.
That's
And
one of the
he
first
texted
things I
me
told
right
him.
away and sent me a picture of you. Yeah.
But anyway, besides all the nonsense, how's everything going?
Nah,
with
everything's good. Everything's good. Right now, I just moved to Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just prepping for the new launch of the T Rivera swimsuits.
All right.
That's priority number one. Tammy and Waka are in LA right now doing the BET Awards.
Okay.
So I mean, everything is blessed. Everything is, can't complain, brother.
Yeah,
Everything
because
is real good.
you definitely a busy guy because you always either here or Atlanta.
Right. Well, the thing is that with Tammy, we started from the bottom. She had maybe 30,000 followers. She's at 5.6 million now.
Mhm.
So what I always preached to her was, I've been in this game 20 years, just like you guys, and I told her I've seen brands go from 0 to 100 and then back to 0.
Right.
So I was telling her, let's build a foundation where we have our infrastructure so solid that now we get to gradually keep growing.
Right.
Because I don't want to be, and no disrespect, I won't even throw the brands out. I don't want to be any of the '90s urban brands that came and went. We always looked
Yeah.
up to Ralph. Ralph is the standard.
Right,
Ralph
right.
is the
Absolutely.
blueprint. You know what I mean? When it comes to the business, from to consumer, like
Right.
that's the standard.
No doubt.
So anytime we do something, we want to follow that blueprint. And Tammy understands. Tammy's growth is beyond amazing to me. From the moment she first started to like where she's at now, and she's still growing, which is
Yeah.
what I love. Like sometimes you deal with clients or you deal with brands, and there's a ceiling.
Right.
So when sky's the limit, that's when I get excited, because from the beginning it's been about the culture.
Right.
If I was a snake, I would have been sitting on 50 million right now. But the culture means more
More
to
to
me
you.
than the money. Of course, I like making money, and we're making good money now.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? But we've stayed true to who we are.
Right.
True.
You know
So
what I'm
what's
saying?
what's the basis of the brand as far as what
Um,
are you catering to? What is,
Well, right now we're doing swimsuits.
Okay.
It's our 4th season, and what we do is we kind of try to cater to like every woman.
Okay.
So like last season we introduced the plus size, because all the BBWs were
Of
hitting
course.
Tammy up like, yo, what's up with us?
Yeah.
So
And there's a heavy culture with them, too.
they're heavy.
No
Yeah.
pun intended.
No pun intended.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
like with
they
Justin-
need love too.
Look with Justin, you see how the
Right.
shirt was
Couldn't
a running
resist.
joke?
Right.
He has a running joke because I used to do BBW parties in Harlem.
Right.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
wow.
So
Yeah.
to this day, he's like, Nil, when's the next one? And I'm like, dude, if you knew how much, that was one of the best money nights.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Them girls come in correct.
Mhm.
They're popping bottles. They're doing,
No
they
doubt.
you go, the pretty girls, they're not spending no money.
Yeah, they just want to be there looking cute. But
Right.
the big girls showing that love. You know,
Right.
they
And we
spending
don't
that
discriminate
money.
against nobody. So it is what it is.
Shoot.
Shit, everybody get that love, right?
Right.
Why not?
Can I ask you what the solid foundation is for you? Like, why do you think it's so solid? It's a foundation you've built.
You know what? It's been one of those things where I'm gonna be honest. Me and Tammy are always on a marketing hunt, right? And what we did is we kind of said, yo, you know what? Let's kind of throw product out there, and kind of like what Supreme does. I don't know if they do it on purpose. I don't know if they run out of product, and then it's like when PRPS the first season they came out, everybody wanted PRPS. Once they were sold out, it was over.
Right.
You had to wait a year. I don't know if that was done on purpose or not, but
It
that's
was.
kind of that's kind of
It
what
was.
that's kind of what we've done, where we'll have thousands of units, and once they're gone, they're gone. So the whole year people are asking us. So now we've gotten to a point where we're gonna go step into the wholesale space. We're gonna go step into like reaching out on a more international level. And I can't talk too much about certain things because we're still signing contracts, but um, I feel really strong. I'll put it to you like this: last year, when we blasted off, when we launched, we did over $200,000 in 24 hours.
Oh wow.
Oh,
But what we did is we did it in alignment with the show. So Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, they had a photo shoot for us with all the girls on the cast. I believe it was in Jamaica. And as soon as that episode came on, we went live. So granted, we used that platform.
Piggyback.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But literally, like if Tammy was here, like she would vouch. Like I could, and it was amazing. So as we kept selling, we were just like, yo, let's cut it short.
Mm.
Let's regroup and then do it again.
Yeah, keeping it kind of exclusive all the time.
Right,
You
right.
know?
So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it all year round, but we're still gonna keep that mentality with certain capsules. So like let's say we do a collaboration with whoever. We'll do limited amounts, and once that's gone, that's gone.
done.
That's it.
And
know?
it seems like you're keeping it going too.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
every new piece that comes out technically would be considered limited.
Right,
So it's first
Right.
one, first come, first serve,
Right.
and you'll be the exclusive for that year.
right.
Okay.
And that's
That's
what
a
keeps,
good
that's what
marketing.
keeps the customer happy.
Of course.
Because if us in this room, there was a sneaker that came out and it was 4 of them, and I have 1 of 4, you got 2 of 4, you got we're excited.
Yeah,
I'm never selling that.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So like back in the day with the polo stuff, I wish I never gave that stuff. away. Like
you
I'm
telling.
man.
It's all about exclusiveness. Everybody
'cause-
wants to be exclusive.
Because I think that's a good thing. I think that's one thing that Supreme does well. Cause
Right. But I don't
They
know if
come
they
out
do
with-
it on purpose.
I think they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
now.
You think so?
They bring stuff out for a week,
Right.
and then the next week another drop comes.
Right,
And
right.
then, like for instance, this shirt came out 1 week, and then it was gone. You
Right.
can't get it no more.
Right.
I think that's smart. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what keeps the customer like pursuing your brand.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
And it's also with the fast-paced system we have now. Everybody's eyes is on the mobile, on the TV,
Right.
so they're always constantly stimulated, looking for that new thing instantly.
right.
So I feel like that they playing with that as well too.
Right.
you
So
know?
what we're doing as well is with every purchase, we're gonna we're giving them a free download of her EP. So we're trying to like do things where we're cross marketing and cross promoting the brands, and once we do that, we're taking it on the road. So as she's touring, we're also using that platform to promote the bathing suits.
That's it's like
So
it's an
good.
inner empire you're building.
Right,
Tesla.
and that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So when you ask about the infrastructure, it's become a thing where not only are we using our resources, but we have all of Waka's resources, and Waka's resources are
You're-
international.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's the like they're already asking for Tammy. Of course, it's Waka has a lot to do with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But we're definitely gonna take advantage of that. Use all of that to our advantage and keep feeding the culture.
Yeah, because Walker he DJs internationally now, right?
Dude, this dude will perform and DJ at the same time.
Right,
I mean, granted, he's on tour with Who Kid, but
right.
there's set.
That set
where
is crazy. Yeah.
He's rapping, and then he'll run behind the DJ booth, get in it, do his thing, and then come back on stage, perform, and he keeps doing that.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
And people go crazy over that.
And now that's got to be his trademark now.
Right, no,
Nobody
like-
can bite that.
See, what's funny is that I've known Waka for a long time. Like me, I used to road manage Gucci Man. So that's kind of how that was my introduction to that whole Atlanta camp, right? And when I first got, I mean, I've been going to Atlanta for like 20 years. It's funny because I knew Bimmy, Bimmy
Yeah.
and Joe and all them. That's their hometown, So I didn't know that until I met her. It might have been like 16 years ago or whatever.
Okay.
And then as I met her, we had, it's funny because Gucci, unfortunately, had went through the situation where he killed somebody, right? After the murder, he beat the case, but he had a social worker. His social worker was Deb, Waka's mother.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that happened. So he felt so comfortable with her that he made her the manager. I came in and acted as the road manager. So once that happened and Gucci started growing and growing and growing, because at one point nobody wanted to talk to us. They're like, oh, this guy's a problem. This guy's crazy. So nobody wanted to talk to us. I'm calling all my peoples in New York, Jersey, And I'm like, yo, I got Gucci, man. They're like, yo, you country as hell. What you doing with that? Because, you know, we always like,
yeah, keep it on our side.
right. So, I mean, not only that, but technically speaking, we are the pioneers of
Absolutely.
everything. You know, everything comes after, right? So everybody's telling me, yo, what are you doing with him? And I'm like, yo, you don't understand the type of love this guy gets. So I used to compare it to like the beginning of hip hop. And they're like, yo, how you gonna disrespect us like that? I said, no, it's a whole different vibe, but the energy is there. When you go into a party, everybody is dancing. Out here, you're in the VIP trying to pop a bottle.
Posing.
You're fronting, right? So once I became his road manager, me and Deb, you know, we would be together every day, and she was like, "Yo, I want to start a whole company." So I said, "All right, let's get it." So I remember being on Peachtree, and she calls me, and she's like, "Hey, I need you to come to the lawyer's office right now." So I said, "All right." I go to the lawyer's office, and she's like, "All right, so this is the paperwork for our new company." So she had a name, and the name sounded like a lawyer's office. Like it just sounded really corporate. And I said, Miss Deb, look, um, you gotta have something that works as an umbrella, so you can have all these subsidiaries or other companies
Right.
under it.
Underneath, right?
Right. So I said, look, I said Ludacris and David Banner, they call you Miss A. And then I said, there's a brand called Mizzoni. I said, let's combine those two and call it Miss A Entertainment. And she was like,
Okay.
oh, I love it. So she ripped all the paperwork, brought everything back out, and it became Miss A Entertainment.
That's what's up.
If I could go back, I would partner up with her because it became her company. Where
Right,
it was kind of
right.
our little movement. And that's kind of what happens in business sometimes. That's why you gotta have the same goal in order to succeed. When people have
Exactly.
different agendas, it doesn't show when the money's not there.
Yeah, when it
But when the
comes.
money comes in, that's when people go their separate.
that's
And all of
true.
that could have been avoided with good communication.
That's true.
You
True
know,
indeed.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't look at it like that per se because my whole goal was to keep growing. And that's always been the goal from the beginning, just keep growing. So fast forward, you know, that blew up, that became what it became, and I ended up linking up with Tammy through Deb and Waka, you know, as Waka became an artist. And, you know, like I was there with Gucci when he signed his first $1 million deal at Atlantic. You know, so
Okay.
it's like I saw the whole thing happening. I saw when Nicki Minaj used to call my phone every day. Like, I saw all of that happening. Like, so that's why when Tammy came around, I said, yo, I've seen things from the beginning work and then things from the beginning not work. So let's kind of like, you know, let's always focus on your strength. You know,
Okay.
so that's
dope.
right now we're blessed. I'm gonna be honest. I'm feeling really good about this launch. Her single "Kisses" went platinum, which is crazy. She just released her EP. is still on the charts.
What is she on the charts now about?
It's iTunes. You know,
Yeah,
iTunes has
yeah.
it. She's on the
Okay.
R&B. She's still on the R&B chart.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, and she has more music coming now that we're releasing season 4 of the bathing suits. We're gonna get into more stuff.
Okay.
So it's gonna be more apparel, more lifestyle. But I think that was the foundation to get our demographic. Now we know who our customer is. You know, so now we're gonna cater to those.
No, that's it.
You just gotta keep feeding them.
Right.
So women, look out for the brand.
Right.
It's going official.
T Rivera season 4 coming in about a week.
There you
Oh,
I'm
go.
excited.
There you
Nice.
go. There you go.
So, Nilson, what do you think about this retro polo stuff, man? You knew it was coming.
You know what? We have conversations like this every day.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what I say.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because, like, for example, like Peter Paul, that's my big brother, right?
Right.
And we were talking about. I was in his ear, like, yo, Andy got all that retro Hilfiger. Tell him to come up off that, right? He's like, nah, they don't want to. They want to stick to their thing. But we've been working on that. Then boom, Low Life comes, right? And Low Life was basically paying homage to the Stadium Collection, right?
Exactly.
And once that came out, in my mind, I was like, yo, Ralph is definitely watching what is going on, right? And then, you know, the next thing you know, you have
The re-release.
Right. And so it's like it feels different.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like
That authenticity. of
right.
it.
It feels like it feels a little different. It feels like I went to somebody and I say, "Oh, can you duplicate this?"
There
And they
you
came
go.
back with their best version of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's something that I like about it and something that I don't. I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
You know?
see, you're like that because, like you said, you were there before. Like you saw the steps happening. So it's like,
Well,
you,
yeah. I mean, back in you know what's funny? Was funny, right? Me being from Jersey, from Patterson, we Patterson's real gutter, right? It's the jungle. So I remember back in like, I think Naughty by Nature doesn't get credit. I think Das Effects doesn't get credit. I think it's certain people that when they came in, the aesthetic changed, like literally. Like
True.
Das came out, everybody had 40s on.
Mm-hmm.
Naughty came out, everybody grew braids. Das with the locks, like you
Yep.
know what I mean. They don't get that, right? So we had a crew, and our crew was legendary. So anybody you know from Patterson, they'll vouch for it.
Yeah,
I
drop
don't
that
care if you got
history.
to. I don't care if you got to talk to them in jail or wherever they at.
Right.
So we had a crew called Polo Grounds with a Z at the end, right? And literally, of course, like you know, same thing. Everything had to be polo. We check your underwears. Like everything had to be low, right? So because we were the pretty boys, we developed a lot of beef in the town. You know what I mean? Like nobody, they're like, oh, who these pretty boys getting money, getting the girls? Like that was a problem for the
course.
goons.
Yeah.
You know, so that ended up being a sad story because we had, now keep in mind, this is 91, 92. So I'm like 16. Right? I'm like, you know, I'm like a junior in high school. We're all about having a good time. We, you know, getting money, going to the Palladium, going to like we're all about having a good time, right?
Right.
So, you know, the goons, they weren't really happy with that to the point that they try to push us out. But they're 30. You're 30, 35, and we look like aliens to them because we were the first baggy ever. So if you look like 89, you look
Crazy.
you
to
look
them.
like disco. You look like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, make a long story short, they came out. They had sort of shotguns in the summer, showing us like, yo, they trying to murder. And one of the people on our team ended up bodying two of them. So that's
It
why
got
the low thing is
nasty.
so serious to me
Yeah.
because people really died behind this. Like,
True indeed.
so it's like when you come back and like, well, I would have felt better with Ralph if he would have included the low lives. Then that feels like okay, I get it. You're still a culture vulture a little bit now, but all right, I get it.
You know, like we always have that talk. We know that will never happen. To get
But
credit.
there had to be some type of authentic approach for people of our generation to say, yo, you know what, this feels good.
But I feel like right now with the media now, I think that is showing worldwide on its own platform
Yeah.
now. And again, it can't be denied even by Ralph that we're the influencers and the billboard for his brand.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I don't think he's gonna. Again, it's a conversation John and me and Prance always have. We need to just let that go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it be gone.
I
But
mean,
we're
that's-
legend.
it's
We're
not gonna let go.
legends.
It's not gonna go. It's not.
Well,
you're not gonna let it go.
Exactly.
Well, you know
what I
what
mean?
though, and I say this: the way we let it go, I think, is to start the Low Life brand, our own brand, and implement our envision of the culture and take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I see it. If we wanted to say, you know what, whatever, let's just take our own thing and do our own thing.
Well, see, this is how I think about it, right? Like, back in the day, let's call it from like 89, let's say 90, right? 1990 looked completely different from 91. It looked completely different from 92. It looked, and nobody's ever really touched the spirit of those years.
True,
'Cause
true,
if,
true.
Like, for example, like, I got pictures where I had like you know, like whatever. If I had a low and it said 1992, I can't wear that in 93. As soon as January 1st comes around, I'm like, damn, I can't even wear this no more.
But what, you see,
Because we were always on the next.
and that's what that goes back in a way. It kind of brings me back to your brand. Everything at that time, we were still up on the exclusive shit.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
it still carries on, but on a different type of
But
energy
like,
now.
Back in the day, it was crazy because like, you know, I weighed 100 pounds and my pants were size 42.
Yeah.
So somebody who was before our generation, they're like, yo, what are you, like we were making stuff up as we were going
Absolutely.
until brands, actually started catering to us. So I love our era because even though we could all be in the same crew and Prince will have his own individuality. You would have your own individuality. John would have his own. You know what I mean? Now it's like everybody is it's a lot of
Cloning.
right. Or
Cookie
like
cutters.
I like to say followers through social media.
Sheep.
A lot of
Yeah.
followers.
Sheep.
And again, this is a conversation we have amongst it. And I think that's what's lost the zeal for me to still kind of stay on that path.
Right.
Because now it's a bunch of cookie cutters.
Right.
Like, now it's like they're just putting it on because they saw Prance have it on that way. They will literally go, what socks you had on, Prance? Oh, all right, let me put it XYZ like that with no originality from
Right.
themselves.
But
And
the
like-
thing is, too, it's like no one wants to sit and let it marinate in their closet. Everybody wants to be the first one out the gate with all the whole collection. Like that don't make sense to me.
Right.
You gotta let it marinate, wear other stuff, switch it up, put a little old with the new, gumbo it.
Right.
Don't just all new everything. That kills the game, for everyone, because now you don't differentiate a low life from a regular dude because everybody at Macy's wearing the same new stuff.
Right.
So who knows who is who?
When
Everybody throwing L's up. You don't know what's going on. Who is who got history, who don't got history. So it's just a big mix up within the culture.
Right.
That it's gonna be hard with Ralph doing all the re-releases and putting the old tags in it. He ain't even putting new tags so you could know what's what.
what era is
Exactly.
coming in. What-
So that's my point on it. You know what I mean? We always had it. I like some of the pieces of the line. John, is not for none of it,
You
but
know
we
how
always
I
have
feel.
the battle,
You
and
don't
then
like none of it?
Well, listen, it's
Tell your
it's a
story.
quality thing for me. Some of that shit is just foo-foo, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's where me and him will
that's it.
agree.
It's just like
See, this is the other thing I don't like about it. I don't like the fact that so many people are trying to buy the pieces to sell them on eBay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that takes away from stuff too, as far as like the re-releases. The old stuff, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like like I had a Guess jacket from '95, never got rid of it. Still got it. You know what I mean? So I would never sell that. But if somebody, they would have to pay me. That's a new car. Then.
But even with that, it has a history.
Right.
Just like an old record. I'm not going to spend the same money on an old record that a new record drop is going to be the same price.
Right.
It's the authenticity in the original one I want,
Right.
and we'll spend the money for.
Right.
it.
Right.
That's why you see now these retros. Some of these retros are going for the prices of some of the vintage shit.
real talk.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah. No, that's fraud.
That's straight
Fraudulence,
fraud.
yeah.
So like I said, they can have that.
listen, I'm not paying $125 for a fucking t-shirt, man.
No.
You got some of the pieces,
Yeah, I do.
right? See?
But I didn't pay for them though. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference.
Because I know when them pieces come out, you and Justin got all of them.
No, see, here we go. He's a no.
true.
He's
It's
on a
true.
listen. Justin is just on another level with it though. He'll get the whole line.
But that was the art of it, though. That's what you.
Yeah.
That was part of the hunt, you know. What
You
I
be
mean?
seeing on his Instagram, he be getting the whole line, and he'll just post the whole line.
I mean, no, we got a group chat from the high school. I went to high school
Yeah,
with him, so
yeah.
we still got the group chat.
And he put it in the group
And
chat.
then
right?
he'll just send all the pictures, and I'm like,
Let them
come
know.
on, dude. Yeah, like,
I be telling him like, yo, you need to stop. He needs to stop.
he's never gonna stop.
Nah, he's on that. He's on he's on Justin's time.
You've been to his new crib, right?
Nah, not yet.
Go to his closet.
I don't really know what to.
It's 2 floors.
God damn.
It's
Leave
crazy.
him alone.
His closet is 2 floors,
Leave
and
him
it's all
alone.
low. All low.
We
Just
always know.
plays
We
And then
know
he
he always
got
had
some
that
Hilfiger
history.
pieces, but the only pieces he got are the Lotus. You know, that was the truth.
That's
That was-
yeah.
Lotus
That's
was like,
hard to find. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So he got a couple of those.
So, what was your favorite pieces outside of Polo? Did you have any other brands?
I mean, yeah. I mean, and it wasn't just me. I can't take. It was me and my crew. You know what I mean? So we did. It might have started. Well, it started with Low, and then Hilfiger, of course, Nordica. Like it was all the usual suspects. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then we kind of like. At one point, we were like, yo, we're gonna do Nordica the way we did Low, so you had to have everything Nordic, and then that didn't feel right. So we would just kind of like you said, do a gumbo with it,
Right,
and
right.
kind of just switch it around, you know. But yeah, I mean, we did that, and then once the urban brands came out, my whole crew never got into cross colors. That was just something we never ever, just that wasn't our vibe. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
We were more on the. It just wasn't. We needed a little history, you know, and Ralph kind of provided that for us.
True,
You know what I
true
mean?
indeed.
And then not only that, but when we came up with the Low, it was more like 90, 91, 92. So it was like, without knowing it, we were kind of following behind you guys. You know what I'm saying? Because like the Wrecking Shop, that was like the Bible. You know what I mean? The Raking in the Dough video, that literally was, even the apartment where you guys had the party at,
Right.
it looked like the Polo Ground house for us.
Sure did.
That was our trap house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah.
looked just like that. If I look at that video, if I have my whole crew here that's still around, they'll be like, yo, that was literally what our place looked like. You
But
know
the
what I'm
crazy thing, I ain't mean to cut you off, Nelson. But the crazy thing is, Raking in the Dough video, that house was Hype Williams' house, and it was in Jersey.
You see?
It was
Ain't
Jersey
that
City.
something?
Wow.
Yeah,
Reminisce of the
yeah,
Jersey
that
Trap.
was crazy. Shout out to Hype Williams for
That's
that
what's
video.
up.
You
No,
already-
that video is. that meant everything. Like I'm telling you, like I was talking to my man, and I was like, "Yo, Ziggy, like that was like to us, because the Low was such a like, it was like Migos to the kids now. Like that would
No,
be my
that's
comparison.
a
perfect.
perfect analogy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how much it mattered.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember, like groups would come out or rappers would come, and if they didn't dress, we'd
Stay over there.
It was hard. It was hard because the style, the fashion was so important to us. You know what I mean? And then we would have battles with the girls because the girls were throwing it on too. They were layered up,
Remember, they had some of the freshest pieces too.
right?
doubt.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? And then between my whole the stadium collection comes out, between my whole crew, we got everything.
That's what's up.
So we would trade too,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, thank God we ain't had social media. They be like, "Damn, you wearing your boy shirt?" But that's what it was back then.
Right,
Don't
right.
wrong.
No,
That's real
true.
talk.
That's real talk.
That's real
You know what I'm
talk.
saying? Like I would trade a shirt with my man, or like when the Vasquez came out or whatever, right? And I would see it like 2 months later on somebody else, and I'm like, yo, that's my shirt. You got it from such and such. You know what I mean? Like, so those were the days, though, bro.
So with brands, what other right now currently, what are some of the brands that you fucks with right now? If there's any?
I like a Cold Wall. I like I mean, I want to say Fear of God, but I want them to switch it up a little bit. I really like, you know who I like? I like Preston Heron.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's fire.
Yeah.
So I like a lot of the new designers that are coming out because they're putting a new twist.
Okay.
You know, they're I feel like the aesthetic is changing. I feel like I'm so happy that it's back to streetwear. You know what I mean? Because for a while everything was this rock and roll or whatever have you. You know, a bohemian vibe. Or I'm talking about as far as the masses.
Right.
Right now it's really like it's hip hop again. You know what I mean? Like it's straight up hip hop. You know, so I'm loving that they're doing that with a high fashion approach. You know, because that's always really truly been my aesthetic. Like me, I got to a point like, you guys remember Pieces in Brooklyn, the boutique?
Oh yeah, on Vanderbilt.
Right.
Of
So
course.
I managed and bought for that store and the one in Harlem.
Oh, word.
Wow.
Right. So I
You in
remember
these
walking.
streets.
Look, I remember walking. I remember walking in True Religion, and their office was like this big. This is before they blew up, right? And it was in L.A. because they're an L.A. brand. So I remember us. It was Colin. Remember Colin?
Yeah.
And Letitia, and we're like, yo, how you know, the question was always like, how do we kind of market? Because if Joe Schmo's spending $60 on Fat Farm jeans, how do we sell him True Religions for $200? You know, how do we sell? Because I feel like that whole premium, that's what it was, right? Premium denim.
Yeah.
Right.
It really started with 7.
You think so?
7, Diesel. It might have been Diesel.
I was gonna tell.
Yeah,
I
it
was
might
just
have
about
been-
to
it might
say.
have been
I think
Diesel.
it was Diesel
Yeah.
because when Diesel dropped that
Right.
store, that was
Yeah.
the first
It might
high
have
quality
been-
denim flagship right on Lexington.
Right, it might have
Yeah.
been Diesel. You're right. But, you know, Diesel 70, Diesel, all that came
Yeah.
like
Like
you know,
back to backs.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right.
So we got to Harlem, and it was on 135th between Adam Clayton and Frederick Douglass. And we were like, yo, how are we going to sell these expensive garments to these young boys? And they just got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got it. Like, once they got it, they got it. And I want to say that because Brooklyn's a little different because I feel like they've been on it. Like they were wearing fitted shirts when everybody was still baggy, right?
Mhm.
So when we got to Harlem, that was like maybe '03. Everybody was still baggy,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of just changed that whole landscape because a lot of the celebrities, all the stylists was always with us.
Mm.
You know, they would come, they say, Neil, what you got? And I'll tell them, I was like, look, I got this, but I got this coming next week.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a good rapport where we were just, without knowing, I should have been charging them.
You see,
Because I was
you're
really,
more of
I
a
was,
consultant.
I was helping them with all their placements, from athletes to musicians to what have you, and that you know, once that little era kind of played itself out, it became really rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to what I was saying before, I like the fact where fashion is going right now. I tell you like this. I always tell people like this. I say, you want to know how you know a corny nigga? He's trendy.
Mm-hmm.
A trendy nigga is always a corny
Listen,
nigga.
yo, shake my hand, brother.
Right?
Yo, listen, that's been my thing because I just feel like now everybody's just looking in the TVs, waiting for that new thing to drop.
Right, and that's corny.
And it's like, yo, dude, create your lane.
Right,
And I think that's why like, again, we this is regurgitated conversation.
Right.
I'm bored, bro.
Yeah.
You know, fashion is, bro. I'm like, we're all looking abroad now for other ways to
Right.
recreate now because now everybody's just cookie cutting shit.
Right.
You know, that's why I asked. I'm gonna share that question with everybody else too on their brands
Mhm.
because I feel like people think we're stuck on one brand
Mhm.
as a collective with the
Right.
Been There Rock That and what we present. I want people to understand we're not just
Well, no,
stuck
you
there.
know what I got from Been There Rock That, and I actually love that name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you why. When I first, I forget who the first episode was, but I saw it, right?
That was Rack.
Rack.
Right.
Rack
So
Low.
what I love about that name is that I was in Atlanta. You know how I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. So it might have been like '05. I was styling a video for T.I., right? And he had just a bunch of, that's when he was on fire. Like, you know, he had a #1 album, #1 movie. And all the little dudes that were with him, they were like, oh, y'all up top niggas are stealing our polo. And I had to I almost fainted. I was like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? They're telling me that we're biting off of them
Not
because they were heavy.
realizing.
They were heavy on the low,
Mm-hmm.
and they with the yellows,
Yeah, little
and
pony
the orange,
joints.
like the bright colors, like we used to do.
Don't
right?
get it. They did it right. They
Right.
just,
No, yeah, they
yeah,
did.
They did it. in their own
The
way.
dude Dro,
Yeah.
that's down, right? So it wasn't him, but it was like all the other little dudes, and I was like, yo, dude, don't you understand? We created, like, if it wasn't for even the people before me. Because I'm one of those people that I like to think I'm a historian, but I'm a realist. So,
Yeah.
and I give props where props is due. Just like I was talking about the record shop. Like,
Right.
I could talk about
Facts.
Pooh, I could talk about, like, you know, people that we looked at, like, yo, that's that fly nigga right there. Right? So, when I heard the name Been There Rock That, it's like, it's almost directed at those little kids that were disrespecting.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And it's not, that
Facts.
wouldn't be just for, like, one brand. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even take it on some low. I took it on, like, you know, Benetton. I took it on all the other, you know, Been There Rock That. Because that's a
Yeah.
fact. You know what I mean? So, I love that name.
Yeah, because I bring that up even to ask the question of brands to my fellow brothers here is because when I went away, people was asking me about the podcast and knowing my history and what I came from, they just all in was, oh, this a polo thing. Yeah. I said, no, you gotta really listen to what we talking about. It's not just even polo. It's not even just clothes. It's the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's really we're that generation that's seen the best,
Right.
and we're watching a little bit of that best come back.
Well,
You know?
I think not only did we see the best, but we were the first.
Yeah,
Nobody was
Yeah.
baggy before us. You know, nobody was doing what we did before us. Like, now you see the baggies come back.
listen, I told a dude, people think the tapered Skinny jeans is
You don't remember
new.
back in the 80s,
We
we would
used
put
to
rubber bands.
Straight legs. Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know,
Paper
Yeah.
clips.
Because remember, karate was big to us back in the day.
Exactly.
We be in class with ninja stars, like,
You know, so that's why you're like, yo, listen, you know, that name says so much in what we all represent
right,
with this podcast and what we looking to share with the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right.
So it's dope. So, well, question back to you guys, John. What was your favorite brand outside of Polo, family?
Hilfiger,
Okay.
because back when they had like the athletic gear with the reflector patches on it and all that. Yeah, I was all into that. Like I had everyone in one way or another. I had it all.
DKNY High Tech.
Yeah,
DKNY
remember that?
high
Yeah.
tech.
I was waiting. I was waiting.
You was gonna come off of that, Pete?
That Armani Exchange was
Right.
popping
Popping,
strong when it first
Yes,
came out.
sir.
That AX was lit.
Yes, sir.
And all the videos you used to see,
Yeah.
dudes used to have that. And
Moschino.
Moschino,
yes.
I was big on
yes,
the Moschino.
Yes, yes.
Even Guess was my thing.
Yeah.
I love Guess to this day.
Yeah. Averix on a certain level, you know, but Guess was the shit.
Listen,
though.
I'm still.
Averex was lit in
Yeah,
Harlem.
yeah,
In
yeah.
Uptown.
You know, we Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's all good, baby.
I still have my Nilson. You remember the silver DKNY vest with
You
the
want to let me
big?
borrow it?
No. It's one of those things. That shit is dope. The whole thing's a big reflector, man. Like,
Right.
I don't see nobody with it. That shit is like, if I show it to you, you'd be like, I remember.
You
that.
had that on, but you had the
Yeah,
jacket.
I had
Yeah,
the
he had
goose.
the goose.
The
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
goose,
I got
not the
I
vest.
got the vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Now we do it.
Let's go.
But back to that, making conversation, right? What about brands now? What brands are you guys are fucking with outside of the vintage shit?
I fuck with brands that give me stuff for free.
Oh, hey, look at this guy.
That's how.
And
That's all I'm
I'll
saying.
support
That's all I'm
local brands.
Okay.
That's dope. Like
Okay.
TTK.
TTK, shout out TTK.
That ain't local no more because it's an Urban Outfitters. So that's to tell you where.
The come up.
But you want to be at that ground level and move with your bros. The same
Exactly.
way
Brick
with,
face.
with Squash Low. I was
There you
about
go.
to say brick face clothing.
Brian
You know?
Wood.
Prime Wood.
Brian Wood is
You know,
Yeah, man. So we got a lot of brands on the come up that people really
Brooklyn
need to check
Circus
out.
all
Brooklyn
day.
Circus,
my man Ouija.
you know.
that's it. From Brooklyn Tech up to where he at now internationally.
Yeah.
So it speaks for itself. You know,
man.
ain't all about the low.
There
Low
you
ain't
go.
a go no more. Let me let
Hey.
y'all know.
Listen,
Memo from me, Prince Low.
diversity is the key.
Yeah, if your closet is diverse, you can do so many other things
Facts.
rather than just wear polo all day.
Like I was telling John, matter of fact, on the way here, I was like, yo, you could give these dudes a closet full of low, but do they know how to put the stuff together with what's in there? You got to put the puzzle together, bro. If you can't put it together, you're going to be out looking out crazy out here.
They gotta do their homework, P.
Reckless.
They gotta get the books.
Dudes is out
Watch
here
video.
crashing and burning fashion-wise, and then they act why they ain't getting they just due from, I guess, the females in the streets or whatever. Like, yo, you looking good today. Like, nah, you look like everybody else.
And we need to ask a female in the group. what
Oh
she
yeah,
think.
the singer.
I'm actually curious if you're looking abroad now because things are so boring here. Where are you looking to? What countries? Like Japan?
Of course.
Like
Ah,
who's the
big
who's
fan
the
of
biggest? Like I feel like
Japan
Japan's
and
the pioneer.
and England.
Yeah.
England.
A lot of my
right.
dudes out there styling and
Yeah.
doing their thing out there in England. Definitely.
Like with me, I'm a big fan of Japanese. It's kind of ironic you bring it up because I've been getting really deep into the Japanese denim and their art of
They have the
mending.
best denim.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you
Best
know,
everything.
and I feel like their understanding of denim and everything is on another level right now.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about brands like Vitamins and Supreme that they're kind of just taking old, like the Pumas, and they'll just put their logo on it? They're $1,000.
I feel, for me, I think in a way, all right, as a businessman, it's genius.
Right.
It's genius, you know, and it just shows you kind of like that people will buy anything if you put the right name on it.
Exactly.
You know, now I feel fashion is not the quality of the piece, it's the name on the piece.
Logo driven.
Right? Right now, you can buy Supreme will put it on a paper bag and charge you $100 for that paper bag
And it'll
for
sell
you to
out.
wear on your head.
And it'll sell out.
sell
and-
out.
like
They
the
wouldn't ha-
like the
they don't
Metro
have-
card thing.
The Metro, they
Yeah,
sold
that
a
was
brick.
crazy.
I think I seen it on eBay for $250. A yes, whoa, a brick.
He's not
And
lying.
I'm wearing quality denim that probably doesn't cost as much as a Supreme brick. Like where they do that at?
Crazy.
Sneakers, even they changed the sneaker game off of a brick. Like now you gotta spend more money on a pair of sneakers that will overpass a brick that's Supreme. But you know what? Genius.
It's all marketing.
It's all marketing.
And like Nelson said, they'll make 10 bricks and then make it exclusive. Like
That's why I feel
like
Nelson.
yo, you ain't get your brick?
Yeah,
Oh, I got mine.
That's why I feel what you're doing with that brand. I think you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
genius, bro. Because like I said, we in the society, and I put this up on everybody want to have that validation on what they got.
Mm.
So with that validation is limited. So you want to be in that line of the limited to be like, okay, I'm that nigga or I'm that chick.
Mm-hmm.
So that marketing scheme is genius.
Yeah, I mean,
You
like I
know.
said, that's what we're using to catapult us to the next level. Because we also want to be selective when it comes to wholesale and retailers.
Right.
And, so I definitely, the goal is always, when you look at Macy's and Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's and, Saks, like you want real estate in those spaces. But the thing is that you have to be careful too, because I was actually just having this conversation with another client of mine. They have a brand, they have a couple stores, and I was telling them, look, you got to be careful because maybe what you should do is when you feed the wholesalers, feed them that, and then do a special capsule for your regular consumers. Because if you have a piece and it's $100 on your .com, but it's $50 at the store because it's 50% off because it's dead merch. Now you have you got to think in the future all the time when it comes to releasing any type of merch.
And I think that also caters to classes too.
Right.
So I think what you're saying is true because you're still going to have a level of group that might want that high end but can't afford it. It's Banana Republic, Gap, and Old Navy in a way. So yeah, I think that's definitely what people are doing now.
Right. Fashion is always seasonal, especially when you're either producing or you're buying. Right. So you figure like this: what's the markup? 2.4 maybe.
About.
Right. So now, if you're selling it at 50% off because you want to make space for your new merch, you're basically just making your money back on what
Technically.
you spent. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that when you feed, like I tell people like this: look, you got a brand, and let's say you go in your hottest pop and mom shop, right? And they bought 20 pieces. Give a couple of your friends money and make them go in there and buy it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you gotta.
Yeah, you dropping some gems.
No, but that's
that's how you do it.
That's how you
Yeah.
really do it because that's how you create buzz.
Absolutely.
Buyers want to be excited.
Yeah.
As a buyer, you get excited over like, I got the Jaclars on, right? If Willie put the history behind it on a little tag, as a buyer, I'm like, oh, that's fucking fire.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? So little things like
It's
that
the
that
little
you put.
things count. Yeah.
Right. So that's how you just keep it pushing.
I mean, even with that, Virgil. That's what Virgil
Oh,
did.
that's
Virgil literally took Nike
he's
and
Jackie
said
Robinson right now.
he jacked Nike and made his own shit. Literally, all he did was the electrical scan, and he created his own brand with a Nike logo on it. So, bro,
Off to the races.
off to the races, off to the races. You know.
Crazy.
But yeah, it's all about exclusiveness, bro. All about exclusiveness. Now, that was a long one.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Awkward-
just show, this
awkward
is homework.
silence,
A
you
little
know?
homework
For
with
real.
fashion and style. But as far as with fashion and style, what else? Yeah, John, narrate this because this
Okay,
was this.
no.
I could continue on with it, but we don't have enough time.
No, I was saying because yours, I got all caught up in the whole conversation.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had me like in
yeah.
a trance for a minute. I was like,
Yeah, it was good.
I had to shake out. But anyway, so what other projects you have going on, Nilson? Like right now, like besides all the Tammy stuff.
Well, what I've done, right, is because of the platform that we created, a moneymaker is the social media promo, right? So now I've kind of created my own little agency where like most of the girls you see on TV when they're promoting on their pages, 9 times out of 10 is through me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically the broker. I've developed a network of like a couple hundred clients, meaning companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the biggest companies. Some are, some are.
Mhm.
You know, of course we got the Fashion Novas and
Mhm.
the usual suspects, but we also have smaller brands that want to get their business out there and promote it. And so what I do is I got all, like I said, all the girls you see on TV,
Mhm.
and I just connect those dots.
Mm.
So that's so that has helped like that has helped a lot as far as like me being able to reach out and touch different demos.
Yeah, you got your
that's
own
smart.
in-house empire, technically. Like you
Yeah,
have your
that's-
media,
That's what we're working
you
on.
got your advertisement, you got everything in one pot.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So with, for example, when we drop the swimsuits, the manufacturer will give me a certain amount for placements,
Right.
and I'm just throwing them at the girls. So I'm trying to get, the goal right now is to get 100 million impressions when we launch. So if I got a girl, she got 10 million followers, she got 5 million followers, she got 7 million followers, I'll take the girl that has 200,000 followers. I add all that up. You know what I mean? Because all of that matters.
True.
And all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to navigate traffic
Hashtag.
right to the website.
And especially you still modeling? Because I know you used to do back in
Nah,
the day.
Yeah, I mean,
you
you
used
know
to be
what's
modeling
funny?
and stuff.
What's funny is that was a double-edged sword for me
Mm.
because I guess I was part of the first generation. Because if you remember, like for example, when you guys were, you know, back in the day, when somebody was in the video, that was really family. That was really the crew.
Right.
There was no stylist. There was like, I'm an artist. I don't want a stylist. Because now if you got a stylist, that's like you cheating a little bit.
Yeah.
To us back then, that's how real
Right.
it was, right? So when I got into the modeling, it was like the first generation of like the castings and where they're treating hip hop and R&B and our culture like pop, right? That was like the first time that it was happening. Where now you have these budgets and, you know, so I originally started. I was signed to Ford, and I originally was doing like more of the European designers, right? And I had long hair. I didn't have locks at that point. I had just braids, and they would have me looking like Fabio in every freaking picture. So I'm like, oh, man. So all my friends were freaking cracking on me, and I'm in GQ. I'm in all the like, you know, I'm in the big wigs, but I look like Fabio. So everybody's just making fun of me.
The
So
Cuban
me,
Fabio.
I'm telling my agent, I'm like, yo, I gotta do some hip hop shit. Like I have
Right.
just for me. Like I want to be in vibe. He's like, oh well, you're in freaking DNR. You're in this. And I'm like, no, I want to be like where I want to. So that was a mistake because what happened in this game, you get boxed in.
I was gonna ask
Anything
you
you do,
that.
you get boxed in, right? But me, I'm at that point, I'm kind of green, right? And things are working. So when you're you don't realize what's missing until shit starts fucking up. When you feel like everything is winning, there's certain things that you might let slide through the cracks. So now when I became like this guy that was like in all the magazines, the billboards, the videos, it was like at that point I had a conversation with a good buddy of mine, right? And his name is Chris Collins. He was actually the polo model for like, he was the Ralph Lauren model for like, he's still the Ralph Lauren model to this day,
Yeah.
right? Me and him, I met that dude when I was 7 years old. He's from my hood too,
Wow.
right? So I remember this dude has been rich off of Ralph for a long time, right? So I'm at his crib. He lives in Edgewater, and he's like, "Yo, Nil," he's like, "I'm gonna give you a piece of advice." He's like, "Anytime you get hot in this game, he's like, there's certain people that are the exception, but for the most part, let's average it out. You got like a 5-year window. So in that 5-year window, you take that little window, and then boom, you use that as a vehicle to get to the next, right? So what I would do is I would be on set. And my plan was always to get behind the camera. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera. So I would just look at what the DA is doing. I would look at what the director's doing. I would look at what the producers are doing. I would look at what the interns are doing. I would look at what everybody is doing because I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I don't know what it is yet, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. So what happened is when I try to make my transition behind the scenes, I would get like, oh, you're the model kid. You're the, you know,
Like they
because
didn't
I'm
take you
boxed
serious,
in.
right?
You get what I'm saying? So it took me a minute. It basically took me a couple credits on my resume for people to be like, oh, okay, this guy's the real deal. You know, so that what I tell people is in this game, you're gonna get boxed in. And, you know, you can be the most talented person from A to Z, and people might just see A through D. because you're gonna get boxed in. You know what I mean? So what I would tell people is just, you know what? We didn't have social media back then. We didn't have this digital impact that you can have now. So work on all your projects and really prove everybody wrong. Like, you're a singer, you have the ability to create a massive following by yourself. You know what I mean? So like, and the more you do that, the more your stock goes up. You know, especially in music where the game is just completely different now. You know, like I had a conversation with an old school, with one of my old schools, and they were so upset that now, because they had records in the past, right? And they were like, I'm so upset that now you can go platinum off of streaming, right? They were like, because, you know, basically a stream, if I stream you by mistake, that counts as a stream.
Yeah.
So I could change it, but that already counts
You
as a
already
stream.
counted.
But what I was trying to tell them is, I said, yo, for you to be platinum on one song, it takes 15 million streams. That's still impressive.
That's exactly.
Very.
I don't give a fuck if 5 million were by mistake. That's super impressive. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird conversation where you're talking, like, me, I feel like it's crazy. I'm like I'm 42 now. So I'm old school. You know what I mean? So it's really become an old young thing now.
Yeah.
But the way I'm gonna explain that is, I remember when back in the early 90s, right? When we were sampling everything, right? That's when hip hop was just sampling everything. So I remember talking to the old heads from the 60s and 70s, and they're like, yo, you young boys are butchering our music. Fuck y'all. Like, they were upset about it.
Right.
So that's the same thing that the old schools are doing to the youngins right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to understand it. It's their time. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like, this is the one thing I don't agree. The young boys say, oh, we created trap. Dude, trap is just gangster rap. That's all it is.
Your version.
Right, it's your version of
Exactly.
gangster.
That's all it
You're not
is.
the first to talk about the streets.
Yeah.
You're not the first to talk about, you know, work. You're not the first person to do. We've done this already. You're just doing it in your.
They want to own the melody or the sequence of how they present it. I think that's probably what.
And that's fine. They can have that. You know what I'm saying? But for example, I know everyone in this room is the same way. When I was coming up, I studied everything from I say Sam Cooke is the first rock star, right? So
Easily.
if there was no Sam Cooke, there'd be no James Brown, there'd be no, like, it goes down the line like that.
True indeed.
So I made sure that I studied everything. That's even how I used to do my fashion, because you got to remember, if you recall, the late 80s, house was a big
shit.
deal
Very
to us.
big.
So even when you dress, like, I'm, you know, like I would do the stomps and the beads and, you know, the way the kids rock their hair now with
the
like,
nappy tops.
yeah, like Pooh would said, tell them fade the side, let it wood fall on top. Like, that's what the kids are doing now. We were doing that 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything is repeating itself. But the one thing that I would say is that our generation had a real respect to where everything came from.
Definitely.
Where I feel like the kids now, they just don't. And when they make comments about a Biggie or a Pac, it's an ignorant comment. But when I use the word ignorant, I don't mean like they're dumb. I mean they just don't know.
No.
And then really our generation has never really made the attempt to really teach
To
them.
educate them,
Right? Because we didn't need that, because we were, back in the day, we, you know, especially with all the 5%ers, and like, it was always building. We were always adding on. So we would learn from each other.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Even like, I would learn shit, and like, I could hear a Nas record, and he would say, you know, my mind's like Dr. Malachi York, and I'm like, yo, let me go find out who
research
Dr.
Malachi York. Yeah.
Right. So it was like that. Now the kids aren't doing that, but you got to remember too, the drugs that they're taking, like, it's a turn up.
Yeah.
It's all a turn
That's
up.
their content.
So what I miss the most, if anything, is I miss the diversity that we had back then. You know? But then if you're upset with the youngins, do this. You don't gotta put the radio on.
It's as simple as
You know
that.
what I'm saying? We got Spotify, we got all these streaming that you can listen to exactly what it is you want to listen to. So you don't have to complain about
No
them.
doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's real.
it's everything is a double-edged sword, but I feel like our generation really needs to take that accountability and the responsibility to really teach the youngins, you know, about what they're doing. They don't even know that it's
agree.
coming from, you know, like we all come from a single atom. The Bible say Adam and Eve, but scientifically we all come from a science. So it's the same thing with this.
True indeed.
You know what I'm saying? The reason, like, I tell people like this. I know the one thing I know the most is I don't know shit, right? And if I tell you something and I spit a jewel at you and you're like, oh shit, I never even thought about that. Like right now, I'm standing upside down, right? Because if gravity wasn't there, I would, right? So what I know is that, um, at the end of the day, everything will repeat itself.
Like
And that's just what it is.
Like I
you know
said,
what I mean?
vintage,
it's
modern vintage.
right, and it's in your DNA. So when I tell you something that you feel like, oh, I didn't know that, you knew that. It was in your DNA already. I just sparked something.
Sparked
in you.
something,
Yeah, you
yep.
know what I'm saying? So we got to spark that in the kids. You know what I mean? We're not
Oh,
doing
definitely.
That's
I don't know anybody
That's
that's
real.
really doing that.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's some people that but nobody, because if it was really done, it would get done.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So
Because they be seeming crazy rebellious about when you trying to educate them on the old stuff. They like, come on, old man, I don't need to hear that. I'm on this new wave.
right, but you know what? That's a lot of kids are like that. Some are not, but that's all a psychological thing too.
True
at the end
indeed.
of the day, because people will always respect power, money, getting fly. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's just now you got to really like
Adapt to the
right,
situation. now.
I feel like the Coles and the Kendricks and I think that things are starting to shift. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? So I'm actually excited about the future. You know what I mean? And it's the first time that I'm really excited when it comes to the music, when it comes to the fashion, when it comes. I mean, with the fashion is different because that's kind of in my instilled in me. But as far as I'm talking about, not me. I'm talking about with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about to see what they got going on in the future.
I heard someone describe it as instead of deja vu, vuja day. So it's like something you feel like you've seen before, but it's actually new to you. And that's what's ideal, is when it's incorporating all, like you're talking about atoms and all these things that repeat themselves, when the DNA of culture weaves within each other, and then it's born again, but it's truly new on a way,
Right.
Old and new.
And on that note, we are out of time.
Always when it gets good.
Always when it gets good. Then it's like, So, Nilson, where can they find you online?
I really only do Instagram.
Yeah,
so
me
that's-
too. I don't
That's
Yeah,
the best.
fuck all that other
now.
shit.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's at Nilson Martinez. That's my government. NILSON.
El Presidente. Stay low.
And then,
Oh.
all that real
Oh,
quick.
nah,
I want
throw
you
your
to
plugs.
follow the brand T
Yeah.
Rivera online
There you go.
on all platforms. Tammy is Charlie's Angel with 3 L's. And we just gonna keep it pushing.
Yeah, you took so long to
Yeah.
come out and say that. Like I was,
I'm sorry,
thought you
Yeah,
was
man.
done. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what we
Stay
promote.
low.
STELO 1009. You already know. Conversation with style. That's how we do. Been there, rock that. We in the building.
Gabriella, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram as my name, Gabriella Riley, with 1 L and Riley like Teddy or Sunday.
I should have had you sing that.
Flatbush
Prince.
Corner.
Yo, Prance Low 24/7
Flatbush
PRANCLO 247. You already know. Church Ave all day.
Yeah.
Almighty Low Life salute.
2
Yo,
L's.
look forward to Highland Park Low Life
Life.
Barbecue. That's
2
Saturday.
L's.
Look forward to Friday is the boat
Boat
ride
ride.
with all chapters, T Magnificent, RLPC, and
Jesus.
Almighty Low Lives
And
on the
of
boat
course,
ride.
been there, rock that.
And
Will be in the
then
building.
Sunday has his break bread, so look forward to that, and look forward to all my peoples. I'm gonna see all the chapters for the Low Life Barbecue. Salute, 30 years.
And shout out our cameraman Jason in the building
Shout
as
out
usual.
You can find me Instagram, Polo Prata. Don't look for me. I won't look for you. It's been a great episode. Thank you, Nielson, for coming out.
Thank
Yo,
you, brother.
Thank you, Gabriella,
brother.
for sitting in.
Appreciate you.
Definitely.
Just been
Thank
there.
you.
Rock
Yeah.
that. See y'all next week. Ciao.
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 Good build, family. Good
Yeah, you
build.
know what I wanted to talk about? I wanted to talk about how freaking how they